It needs another couple seconds. Okay. So it's the SEC Growth Data Science staff meeting for June 14th, 2023, or 15th for those in APAC. Today we have external shadow. Another one, I actually have two this week. One may or may not be able to join, but Anshuman is here. So thanks for joining, Anshuman. Any interesting things you've learned being a shadow so far that you'd like to share? We'll save time at the end for questions that you have, but anything interesting you've learned from being a shadow this week?
Before I say anything, hi everyone. I'm pretty much glad to test out the beta features of the AI suggestions thing and to see what you are actually working on. So it feels good to get insights at the top level of what things are going. So that's my learning so far.
Cool. Thanks, Anshuman. So looks like Phil, you've got the first item.
Yeah, just a celebration. The free user initiative is something that Growth in particular has been working on for about the last year and a half. There have been lots of changes of requirements, lots of changes and stops in terms of rolling it out. Just due to e-group, I suppose, changes of requirements, not because of the work the team's doing, but that's been rolling out this week. Great work from the team. There are some team members who aren't in Growth teams anymore who worked on that. I believe even Jay, you and your former Growth team probably started working on this about a year and a half ago before becoming anti-abuse. So massive team effort, well done to everyone.
Congrats to the team. This has been a long effort to get there with all the different nuances and many different iterations on the plan, not the code necessarily, but the plan on as we got feedback from users and iterated on the business requirements as those changed, et cetera. So it's congrats.
So this is live now. Is that right, Phil?
Yeah, it's been incrementally rolled out, and I think they started at like 100 users. They started putting them in read only, and they've lowered it down to 5 users. So it's the 5 user limit is now in force.
And has that scaled existing? These aren't just users going forward. They've actually retroactively done it.
There are still some notifications to be sent out to some existing groups. There is a little bit of ongoing work there on how to get that many emails sent out in a short space of time. So the team is still looking at optimizing for that. But certainly for new groups, that's in place now. Yeah.
Cool.
Groups created after a certain date. It's not just new groups. There have been multiple notifications going back for months, letting users know that this is coming, and letting those groups created after a certain date, groups that have been around for a bit longer, is still ongoing. Are you wanting to jump back in, Jay? We can get you an issue. We can assign an issue if you like.
I'm happy where I'm at right now, actually. So thank you very much for the offer, but I'm going to politely decline.
Just thought I'd ask. Yeah.
In news and events, we moved code suggestions to use a Google model versus our own for GitLab's own projects today. So please do encourage your teams to try it out and provide feedback. And there's an issue on how to use it and where to provide feedback there. Thomas, you've got B.
Yeah, I shamelessly copied this from the development staff agenda doc, but mid-year check-in reminder that is launched. There's a Slack announcement handbook page. It's tended to be team member led. It runs through the end of July. And the follow-on to that, like an optional output of this, is individual growth plans. However, if people want to participate in 360 reviews, an individual growth plan is required for that. So there's the carrot for IGPs if folks need or want one.
Thanks. I wasn't at the staff meeting, which was earlier this morning, my time. And I just had a couple of questions that you might be able to answer. So you're saying that 360s are still optional, and they're opt-in. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any say in that as leaders? Can we mandate this for certain teams if we think it's useful? Or is it opt-in at the individual level?
I don't think that question was asked, but I assume it's opt-in at individual level. And Wayne, I don't know if you have a different understanding.
I don't know.
It certainly sounds like it. If you have to create an IGP first, then yeah, that's a shame. I was hoping that it would be opt-out rather than opt-in. Yeah. I like 360s. I think we get valuable feedback out of it. But anyway, I'll follow up with Juliana.
My favorite question, what's top of mind for everyone? And Alan put that in async. I'll read Alan's. Alan's top of mind items are mid-year check-ins, which Thomas just mentioned, promotion docs, getting together for teams in Poland. That's neat. And also demo environment automation. Thomas, looks like you've got next.
Unless Jay's going to jump in front of me as an ummer.
Yeah, sure. I'll steal. Oh, and maybe Amara will steal after that. End of quarters coming up soon, right?
You're kidding. Really?
Am I wrong? Am I ahead by a month? That can't possibly be right.
You're ahead. We are halfway through the
Ahead.
quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, I said really like,
Oh.
oh my gosh, this quarter has gone by fast. So we're halfway through, but
Okay.
time flies fast at GitLab.
Middle of the quarter. So you've
Yeah.
been warned. Let's see. So OKRs, making sure those are on track. And my team should be resolving a borrow request soon. So pretty happy to get back to roadmap work. Yeah, that's where I'm at mentally.
Summer?
Yeah, I've been involved with a customer escalation recently. That's been very top of mind. A mid-year check-ins, like Thomas mentioned, that kicked off yesterday. We're also tying in some career conversations into that. So been heavily involved with that. And then also on the static analysis front, vulnerability tracking has been a big focus for our team. And one that I didn't finish adding is on the secret detection front, we're discussing bringing the secret revocation service into the product from the security automation team. So that's been a discussion that we've been having and pushing forward.
Cool. For me, I hit my priorities lately are top of mind AI related things in terms of the rollout of the Google change, working with Mon and infrastructure and others on that. Promotion process planning and pre-work. I also hit inbox zero today, both in email and Slack for the first time in a while, and that's a good feeling. Yeah, I'm jinxing myself by saying it, but because once you hit zero, it doesn't last for long. But it's nice to be actually get there. Phil?
Just one of the things we're working on is Elevate, which all managers will go through in one of the cohorts. I think we're on cohort. There was a proof of concept group, and now we're in cohort 1. Other managers will get to go through that over the next 6 to 12 months. That's quite interesting at the moment. We're looking at OKRs, making some changes mid-quarter to some of our OKRs to reflect changing requirements, and just working with supporting the teams on major deliverables.
Cool.
Phil, quick question on Elevate, if you might know. Are there multiple cohorts happening at the same time, or is it okay?
I think there is what's the right word? There are multiple groups in different time zones doing Elevate right now, and they'll be starting another round. I'm not sure when. I can find out for you if you're interested, though. We don't tend to find out like in the next month, I think it starts roughly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were just staggering cohorts or if there were like multiple classes going on at the same time. It was just out of curiosity.
Sure. There are multiple, there are 3 streams that you can choose, and you choose it based on time zone. They recommend that you stay in the same, that take the same class each time so that you're with the same group.
That makes sense. Cool. Thank you.
Cool.
So we're out of agenda. It's good discussion as always. Anshuman, do you have any questions for Jay or Thomas or Amar or Phil or I, based on what we discussed? Any questions or observations?
I mean, I was able to understand a few of the things, to be very honest. But I mean, I do have a question. I don't know who might be want to answering this. See, I'm seeing a lot of many things which are like tending to. I see a lot of feature requests which are being directed towards you guys, and then you would have to go to the development team and ask them how to build them. So I mean, how do you say that we are going to build this feature and this not feature, because you would always have these quarter approach it? I mean, I want to understand.
Wayne, you might be best to answer on this one, given.
And I apologize. I started multitasking. Can you repeat?
No, I was just curious. I mean, not the prioritization thing, but what features would you ultimately build and all those things?
So how do we choose what features to build specifically in AI?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Couldn't make it today. All meetings are optional at GitLab. She'd probably have an opinion about that too, although Phil probably does as well, as some of his teams are working on AI features. We look at where AI can be most impactful for our customers, which is hard to figure out with confidence, where it's most useful, and then work in those areas. And we've done a number of experiments. Sometimes they're really, really successful and people really like them, and sometimes not so much. And that's okay, because we're doing minimal viable change experiments on them, so we can get user feedback. Like the code suggestions feature has gotten a lot of great feedback and a lot of usage. One that one of Phil's teams, specifically Neil's team, has been working on is the explain the vulnerability feature, which also is getting a lot of good feedback from the users. So that's it's hit and miss, but that's why we're doing experiments to quote unquote fail fast. If a feature does not end up being useful that we predict might be, we take a step back and remove it, or at least don't move it forward. Phil, is that kind of how it's working from your perspective as well, or maybe you have a different perspective?
Yeah, look, we brainstormed initially. We asked all of our team members for ideas, and then we did what we do across product and development. We sent them up to our PM, and they prioritized. They looked at, in some cases, what aligns with their current roadmap. In other cases, they're looking at competitors, and in other cases, they're looking at how easy it is to get an experimental feature deployed. But the prioritization is done at the product level, just like any other feature.
Sounds reasonable. I mean, I just had one more question, if you don't mind. I guess it pertains to Amar, because he is looking over the static analysis thing. We actually had a meeting with Dinesh earlier this week, and so I got to know about that SimGrip is like, it's producing a lot more false positive and false negatives. So I mean, how do you handle that? Like, are you still transitioning with care, or like what's your approach to?
Yeah, just so I understand specifically what you're asking. You're asking about you've noticed that we've seen a trend in higher false positives and false negatives, or?
Yeah, so I mean, how is the transition to SimGrip going for the GitLab analyzers? I mean,
specifically in the SimGrip rules that vulnerability research has been working on.
Yeah, so there's a few different things we're doing right now. One is we're trying to introduce some sort of benchmarking to help with rule efficacy. That's been talked about through a few different initiatives that we have ongoing. One specific area we're using or a tool that we're looking to build will help run like the rules that we have within stack analysis or within our SimGrep-based analyzer against multiple projects. And then from there, we'll get outputted what the true positive, false positive rate's going to be. So that's one initiative. Another way that we're looking to tackle this is finding more ways to get feedback from our customers on the rules that are being generated or being used. So instance, if a customer detects a false positive, right now there's really no easy mechanism for somebody to report on that false positive. So we've talked about different ways that we can introduce that within the UI. And then also partnering with VR, our vulnerability research team, in order to address some of that feedback and also improve rule quality. So just a few ways at the moment that we're looking to tackle the false positives on that.
Let me add on to that,
Okay.
if you'll let me.
Sorry.
Let me
Floor
add
is
on to
yours.
that. Yeah, let me add on to that a little bit. So for SimGraph rules, their intention is to replace other open source analyzers that we already have in place. And when the rule transitions are being done, the effort is not on making the rules the best they can. The effort is to make the rules match the rules that we are replacing as completely as possible. The reason for that is that the transition path is that we'll have the new SimGraph rule pack running with the other analyzer side by side. And as long as they find the same things, they show up as one vulnerability rather than two. They're being dual reported. And so
Okay.
when we do the transition, it's about completeness of the rules being ported. And then once we turn off the original analyzer and SimGraph takes over, that allows for tuning for efficacy. So there's a two-step process that has to happen.
I mean, understandable. But as you were saying, for the base analyzers, I mean, do you have open source for all of them? I'm not sure if there's something for TypeScript or something like that.
For TypeScript, it started with ESLint. So there were originally 16 different SAST analyzers that are being compressed down to ideally into 1, 2, 3, or 4. And so,
Okay.
And we haven't, in recent times at least, introduced any new analyzers outside of, like, I guess the main goal is, yeah, as Thomas shows, the main goal is consolidating to our SimGraph based analyzer. What we have, I think we're down to 10 to 12 at the moment. So ultimately the goal would be to get to one single consolidated experience across all the rule packs. So
Right. Yes. Thank you for answering that. I was just curious to know the status of the project.
thank you for the
Great.
question.
Great. Yeah, great question, Anshuman. All right, great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. And Phil, since we didn't get to finish our previous discussion, why don't we jump back on that other